All right, this is Ubaid on behalf of Electronics, and in this video, we'll be talking about the relationship between real GDP and your unemployment rate. Okay, so when it comes to your real GDP has to do with economic growth. Okay, so real GDP has to do with economic growth. And as the real GDP goes up, the economy goes up. As it goes down, the economy goes down. And likewise, as the real GDP goes up, the unemployment rate goes down. As it goes down, the unemployment rate goes up. Okay, hence you can conclude that these two are inversely proportional. Okay, so real GDP is inversely proportional when it comes to unemployment. All right, now you can see this on a graph as well. So suppose you were to analyze a graph. And this is what you see for your real GDP. Okay, sort of like stock market where you have your peak and your trough. All right, so between your peak and your trough, the GDP is shrinking, which may lead to a recession. Eventually, it stops at this point. Okay, and then it starts growing back up again. Okay, so when it starts growing back up again, you have expansion of real GDP and economy in general. As a result of which, this is your peak, this is your trough, and this is your peak. All right, and this would be one business cycle over here. All right. Now, apart from that, if you were to figure out the growth rate, okay, so let's say we go back over here and we try to figure out the growth rate for the year 2020. Notice, okay, there is a negative slope, okay, right between 2019 and 2020, which basically means your real GDP is shrinking. Okay, this is real GDP for Canada. The real GDP is shrinking. You may verify this through another source. Okay, let's say this is World Bank over here. Okay, and your GDP growth, you can see that it's shrinking. It shrank in 2020. Okay, this is IMF, International Monetary Fund. You can see that the GDP is shrinking. Okay, it shrank in 2020. All right, now the values may be a bit different between different sources, but you get the general idea as to what happened in 2020. If you want to figure out the growth rate, okay, you simply have to subtract is a negative growth, okay, and it shrank by roughly 12%, okay. So let's say it went down, okay. You can see -5, and then went back up again, roughly 12%, 5 and 11, so 5 and 6, which is 11, so roughly 11%. Okay, so this is basically how you figure out the growth, the real GDP growth, okay, or the annual percentage change in real GDP growth. Now, once you know your real GDP growth, you can try to make an educated guess as to what the impact on the unemployment rate would be. Okay, so over here on this website, okay, we can see as the GDP shrank in 2020 to -5, for example, the unemployment went up, okay, by 9.7%. Okay, so the unemployment rate was 9.7%, which was the highest, as you can see on this graph. And the GDP growth was the lowest in the year 2020. Okay, so whenever you have recession, your unemployment rate goes up. All right, and we've had many recessions back in the past where the unemployment um, grew. Okay, so whenever you have a recession, the unemployment rate will go up. All right, now apart from that, okay, that would be it for this video. Okay, on behalf of B Electronics, this is Obey. Have yourself a great day.